Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. You know, with summertime being here, a lot of people are considering projects, maybe expanding their house or building that garage. And depending upon the size of that project, you might just need a building permit. So that takes us to our topic of the day, building permits and business licenses. They are topics we seldom consider as we go about our day-to-day lives, but they are very important because that is a way that municipalities and counties keep growth in the community consistent with the general plan. Now, with a project we'd like you to consider, here's Dan Pope.
We all know the story about the three little pigs and the homes they built. The moral to the story is the better a structure is built, the safer it will be. Now, builders today have to deal with more than stones and sticks and straw. Safety is their #1 concern, and building codes are put into place to help them build structures that are safe for us to live in and work in. The county building department is there to enforce those codes, and when homeowners or contractors don't build in accordance with the law, the agency steps in to protect public safety. Encounters like these can be frustrating at times, and people at the building department understand.
And as regulators and enforcers, people don't like that. Nobody likes to get a parking ticket. You know, we don't go out and issue tickets, but on the same premise, we go out and tell people that they're doing something wrong. We have to explain to them what the proper procedure is or how the method or requirement of the code is, and for their safety and for their benefit.
Counties are required to enforce uniform state and local building codes and may also adopt codes by passing ordinances. From there, it is the job of building inspectors like Kelly Bolthorpe who help oversee the process. And depending on the scope of the job, you may see the county or city building inspector several times.
We've just started, though, as far as you'd still look at the electrical, all the electrical wiring, the plumbing, mechanical systems, the standard practice of how they are building it.
The code that building departments follow was established by the International Code Council, or ICC. In 1994, ICC was established with the goal of creating a single set of construction codes that could be used nationally to create a benchmark for constructing buildings and communities that are safe for people to live in. These codes lay out what has been established as minimum safeguards for homes, businesses, and schools. With these standards in hand, engineers and contractors know what to build, and the county and city officers know what to look for when they inspect a structure. It is the residents' responsibility to call the building department before beginning a project so that permits can be obtained and inspectors can make sure that the work is being done safely.
Call us to come in and say, what do we need to do? How can we help you? We're more than willing to go out and meet people on site, explain what needs to be done, what would be required to permit, what wouldn't. Let us come out and help you understand what you're doing. Is that really going to require a permit or not? And, to what extent? We're not in the business to turn you down. We're not in the business to shut you down. We're not in the business to tell you, no, you're not going to do that. We're here to help you to make it work.
That's it.
That was it.
Planning and zoning laws are enacted in communities across the country so that neighborhoods are separated from businesses, landfills, and other urban structures. Building permits are the individual pieces that account for the structures that are built in those zones.
Land use planning is basically the process that the local government uses to try to predict and encourage a development pattern that is the consensus of the elected leaders. It includes a list of uses that are allowed and uses that are not allowed, and it tries to manage the development of property and make sure that values are preserved and uses are predictable.
When a new neighborhood is developed, leaders and citizens come together to decide how they want the new area zoned. Some landowners feel it is their right to do as they wish on their property. But when those actions affect the community at large, neighbors have the right to have their voices heard as well.
The definition of somebody who really believes in property rights is someone not who wants to do anything they want on their property, but who's willing to let the neighbor do anything he wants on his property.
So whether building a home or a community, it turns out that having good standards isn't about creating more bureaucracy. It's about establishing practices that help to build a home that will stand the test of time, and it won't fall apart. For the county seat, I'm Dan Pope.
Thank you, Dan, for the report. When we return, we will talk about the process and the procedure you go through to get a building permit, and what some of the pitfalls and problems are that people encounter, and why those things are in place. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more of the county seat.
Anything worth doing in this quiet little town?
You strike me as the kind of girl that likes a manicure and a massage.
I was hoping for something a little more vigorous.
Vigorous, I can do.
And I thought you'd be riding side saddle.
What? I'm gonna regret this.
The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration. SITLA manages 3.5 million acres in Utah lands with the express purpose of furthering the education of Utah students while promoting local industry, oil and gas, even residential development, all at the same time. Through the careful use of trust lands, we distributed more than $22 million to Utah schools last year. The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, building the state's permanent school fund.
Have you ever dreamt of running through an old west town, searching for outlaws, hiding behind the stable or inside the old church with your 6-shooter by your side? Well, your dreams have come true. Castlegate Town Shooting Range is the most detailed, most realistic, and outright most fun shooting range you've ever seen. The North Springs Shooting Range.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.